The National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement Nyota project has entered phase 2 of its business support component with a nationwide rollout across 27 counties. The program targets unemployed youth aged between 18 and 29 and up to 35 years for persons living with disabilities, and is designed to enhance youth employability, enterprise development, and promote a culture of saving. Tonight we speak to the Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Susan Mangeni, to help us better understand how the Nyota project works. Good evening.
Thank you, Molly.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, we want to catch up with the latest developments since you were here, PS, and just looking at what's been happening in several counties in this week alone. I want to know, the rollout of this cash support to young people under the Nyota project. Who exactly is getting this money, and when these persons show up to receive the funds, how do you ensure that the targeted youth, those 18 to 29 years old, are the actual beneficiaries that will receive these funds?
Thank you, Lillian. And once again, Happy New Year. And thank you for hosting me again. Now, this is twice I'm meeting you here. So, and I'm sure you're asking about the business support component of Nyota, because we have other components, including recognition of prior learning. We have on-job experience, which are targeting to skill young people. Some of them link them up to, industries and sectors, businesses where they can acquire skills through practical experience, but we'll come into that. But first of all, on the business support, because I know this is where now we have lots of excitement. Where are we now? So far we have trained, we have done the first phase of mandatory business development, classroom training across the country to all the targeted beneficiaries. These are 100,000 that have been drawn across the 1,450 wards in the Republic of Kenya. Of course, young people aged between 18 to 29 years and up to 35 for persons with disability. And then also we have a segment where we are also taking care of refugees, some of the vulnerable youths who are within the Republic of Kenya. In the two gazetted refugee camps of Dadaab and Kakuma, their onboarding is currently taking place. We will target to support about 5,000. And then of course now, so where are we now? We have done the training. So the way this project is designed, the young people go through a very comprehensive training program. In fact, Nyota is anchored around capacity building, business development, mentorship, so that we get to then form an entrepreneur. Because starting a business requires not just capital alone, but requires a supportive ecosystem, which includes skilling, networking, linkages, and then mentorship as well as counseling. So where are we? We have trained across the country, and now we are doing disbursement of the first tranche of the startup capital. Remember, this particular component will grant young people 50,000, which is not repayable. It's to put into their business to launch their business career, and then from there, then they can be introduced in the ecosystem where they can access in future enhanced funding to expand and grow their business. So we then, the first phase of disbursement was during the launch, and this was with regard to the first cluster, which was Western Kenya, which had 4 counties of Bungoma, Busia, Vihiga, and Kakamega. Last year, November 7th, 2025. So over 12,155 to be precise, we disbursed to them more than 300, actually to be specific, 303 million that we disbursed to 12,155 in November last year. So then we came into the second phase. By that time, the training had commenced in the rest of the counties across the country. So now, again, we have now the second phase, which is targeting about 29 counties, as you've already put it. We have already done 26 counties, a total now, including the Western, as of yesterday when we were in Makueni, when we were in Machakos for the lower Eastern cluster, that is Kitui, Machakos and Makueni. And so on Monday, we'll be doing the Nairobi cluster that includes Nairobi County, Kiambu, and then Kajiado, and we expect to benefit more than 10,000, actually it's 10,000, almost 10,300 beneficiaries drawn from those counties. And then in this second phase, we'll be remaining with Meru, and then Meru cluster that has Meru, Embu, and Tharaka Nithi. Tharaka Nithi counties, which we look forward to maybe in the course of next week to have benefited. Then from there, we will come up with a schedule for the remainder of the counties, which most of them are in Nyanza, of course Nyanza, both the Kisii and these other, the Luo region. In the Gusiland and the Luo Nation, and then of course the coastal region and northeastern, so we'll be remaining with those three regions to disperse to. So far, how we've been able to benefit 48,388 beneficiaries, and a total of 1.2 billion, over 1.2 billion has already been dispersed to them. The beneficiaries are getting 22,000 immediately through the Pochi la Biashara. 3,000 is going to their saving. Why did we decide on disbursing through Pochi la Biashara? Because Pochi la Biashara, it is loaded with business digital tools. We have there what we call stake talking suite inside the Pochi la Biashara. So to enable these beneficiaries to do their stock taking, we have reconciliation. They can do the daily reconciliation of their transaction. They can also from time to time do their P&L. And it helps them now to put the records together so that in future, when they want probably to access a facility outside Nyota, they now have records. They just download the records and they take it to the financial institution.
Thanks for that breakdown, PS. Before we get into what the 25,000 is expected to cover, let's talk about logistically the fact that we're seeing some of these young people coming from far-flung counties. You know, some of them, and you know, also there's been cluster counties that have been brought together, such as the case that we saw in Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyandarua. So talking about logistics, who is covering these costs? How are these costs being covered, seeing that you have a tranche of young people coming from different parts of the country and converging in one place?
So I remember when I was here, first time you hosted me here, you asked me, how shall we ensure that this money reaches out to the intended people? So the disbursement forum, the way we are disbursing in public, first of all, is to create transparency and accountability around here. You people, you can see that indeed these are beneficiaries, and I know even the citizen, you've been covering this event live, and you're able to interact with the beneficiaries, and you pick their insight, you pick their stories and the expectation. It is very important. It is part of an extended mentorship session, and you see even the way we work out that particular session is that we get to speak to these young people, and then also they need to understand and to have the comfort that the nation cares for us, the government cares for us, other stakeholders, that our leaders who care for us, and they are committing to support us to unlock the business environment so that it becomes more easier for us to do our business. You've seen where we've gone across the country. You've seen governors really embracing them and inviting them and telling them that, look, we are going to give you some exemption, waiver, probably for the first 1 year of those licensing. We are going to provide
So how they get there is their business.
So how they get there, we are bringing them there.
Okay.
These are our people. We have invested in it, and we want them to, so they're not using their own logistics.
Right. Okay.
So we are supporting them to bring them there, to make sure we talk to them the same way we've been supporting them to come for training. The way we've designed a program, when you're going for training, we make sure we also give you transport, we give you lunch, we give you what, because this is a very deliberate process, because forming an entrepreneur from the scratch, it requires a lot of support around them, because these are vulnerable. Remember, they're vulnerable, and most of them marginalized. They're seeing these opportunities for the first time. I've gone to places like Boni Forest, where people dread even to go there. But these young people have come out in large numbers and saying, we are willing to turn around the economic landscape of this area. Imagine 70 young entrepreneurs in Boni Forest, in that Basuba ward, in somewhere in Mandera, somewhere in Wajir, somewhere in Busia. They are likely to turn around the economic landscape of the, and this is how societies develop.
Right. Now, let's look at the figures. 25,000 PS. What is this supposed to cover for a young entrepreneur? And, you know, there's been criticism around how much that can really do for a startup, how much can really do for somebody who already has an existing business. But once the beneficiaries receive the funds, what obligations do they have? And from, the Nyota, management or even the government in itself, how do you ensure that the money goes into the intended cause? So
first of all, the money in which you are disbursing the money. Remember, we say this money is being disbursed digitally, but through a wallet that is already loaded with business tools to enable them and to help us also to track how they are transacting with the money. The wallet, the Nyota wallet, Pochi La Biashara, which has been worked out by our technology service provider, is also ensuring that this money is ring-fenced from other digital loan obligation, so that now you get your money, you do business. If you have Fuliza, Haitaenda, if you have, even our Hustler Fund, it is ring-fenced from there. Now you'll be able to pay off Fuliza or Hustler Fund any obligation from the proceeds you'll get from your profits once. So already we are making sure that you get your full package to start off your business. But what can 22,000 do, or 50,000, because the whole package eventually is 50,000 do? I want just to refer you to the testimonies we are getting during this disbursement forum. And they've been live. We've seen young people talking about, like yesterday in Machakos, if I can recall, we had a young person who said, look, where I live, we've had issues about garbage the way they done. I'm thinking of starting a garbage collection business, and I can be able to buy like the packages and those kind of things to put in the estates where people will do that. 22,000 can enable them to do the bins, to buy the bins for the trash and the dustbins for doing that. 22,000, we've had people, some of them, especially young ladies, saying, look, there's opportunities in the cosmetic industries, and I can begin from somewhere at least to buy some of these products that are needed. Some are in the salon are saying 22,000, I can be able to add stock and buy products and put there. Let me tell you, someone who has a business mind, and most of these beneficiaries, actually all of them, they're coming out of the training, and this training was a mandatory training armed with a business plan. If you're already in existing business, most of them have been telling us the training has enabled them to look at business differently. Even some of the things that they were taking for granted, they're able to separate their own money from the money for businesses, so they're gaining knowledge. So we are not just giving them, and they already have a plan. And the reason why we decentralize even the training to go to the grassroots level, to the centers closer to these people, so that they get to appreciate opportunities which are already there and how to leverage on existing resources to do this. So most of the testimonies we've gotten from these people, they're saying that money is enough for them.
And PS, looking at the, just so that we can, cover what we have to discuss here, in the interest of time, I want to talk about the key intervention areas. Just looking at 4 of them, which include skills certification, business support, youth savings, and strengthening youth employment systems. Looking at the unemployment situation in this country, when we talk about improving youth employability, the question that begs is how different and how does this differ from TVET training? We already have TVET institutions in the country. So when you talk about the Nyota project, improving youth employability, how does this differ from the TVET? And are people who are actually graduates of TVET, certified by TVETs, also able to qualify for the Nyota support?
So improving youth or enhancing youth employability, number one, has got 2 tracks. The first one is recognizing the existing skills, the existing knowledge the existing experience. So we are having our young people who are not even able. Remember, the project, first of all, is targeting people who have not advanced beyond the Form 4 level of education, the secondary level of education. So these are people also who did not get an opportunity to go to TVET. I know we have village polytechnics where probably you'll find someone dropped out and went there, so they have those skills, but then probably the kind of certificate which they have it cannot enable them to access a competitive opportunity outside there. Now look, you have, let's say, someone in the construction sector like a plumber who already knows how to do. Let me use the best example, like the salon for the ladies. So we have ladies who are born with talents and they can do the hair, they can do all this because they have not gotten an opportunity to go to a formal education system to gain enhanced skills. But by just observing in that spaces how these things are done, they're already experts. What stands in between them and a competitive job opportunity is the certificates, is the papers that are needed. Because yes, if you got a job here, your papers first of all spoke about your CV. So what we do, we identify them, we assess the skills through even TVET. NITA is working closely with TVET because then TVET has got that space. They assess the existing skills. Then after that, they are given the certification. So we certify the existing skill, give them another enhanced level of competence to enable them also to compete in the job market. Now, secondly, the other track is now attaching these people to industries, to businesses. For instance, Royal Media, there are so many young people say they are interested in becoming broadcaster. They see you here, they feel like, I want to be like Lillian Molly there. But you see, they might have a voice, they might have good articulation of issues, but they need to operate in this space. So they start learning from practical experience, observation, helping you. They'll be pushing cameras here and here as they gain skills. And you train them because you attach around them master craftsmen who will train them day to day. And then how we are supporting them so that they maintain that consistency is that there is a stipend, at least a monthly stipend, to provide them with transport to come so that they maintain the consistent to gain more skills and experience, to become experts. While they're here, they'll also get to learn other net opportunities in the sector because now they become part and parcel of this sector, the media sector, they learn. So we have that group of young people who wants to learn on job, and that's targeting 90,000 across the country again. The recognition of prior learning is targeting 20,000 just to certify. But also, we have other opportunities like we're talking about labor.
Yeah.
Mobility, where you find most of the requests, maybe someone requires a driver, and we have so many young people who know how to drive. They are competent, but they don't have papers to show that. So those are some of the people that are benefiting in skilling and the retailing initiative
preparing
that we have.
Them for the job market.
Yeah,
and then question, and if we could just keep it very brief, because people have asked this question, PS. Critics have raised concern that Nyota launches, especially those attended by the president, are turning into political platforms ahead of 2027, and really comparing it to the Hustler Fund, looking at this as campaign gimmicks rather than, development initiatives, and, just seeing this as sort of undermining the profile of the Nyota project. What would you say to that?
But let me ask you, what part of those forums and those sessions is political? We are inviting all our leaders. Yesterday we were in Machakos. We sent out invitation to all political leaders within that cluster, to all governors, to all senators, to all MPs, members of parliament. You're looking at the beneficiaries. We are not selecting even beneficiaries based on their political position. And you've been able to see Nakuru, you've seen even those ones that are even hardcore critics of the current administration. They're also benefiting from there. We are creating a platform. One, and you say comparing to Hustler Fund. You see how we continue getting beating in Hustler Fund because it is so silent. It is you and the individual beneficiaries. There is no public, there's no seeing and believing from the public. And many people, today I keep on explaining, these are the number of people, 27, that have benefited from Hustler Fund. Lillian Muli will ask me, where are those people? But today, it is in open. You can see those young people, and you see how the feeling that they're also considered and valued by the government, by the society, as we get to welcome them in our economy, is very important, is very inspiring, and it will help them to take on that journey courageously and to make sure that they consolidate the necessary support they need to thrive in their business. So there is no politics about. There's nobody who has stopped even the opposition leaders to join our forums.
Right.
They can come and talk to these young people. We have no problem. The president is welcoming him, also being a business person, because we all know who rose from humble beginning and being the head of state. His presence there is also encouraging to these young people that there will be a conducive environment that will grow their business.
And we wish all the young, budding, entrepreneuring spirits in this country all the very best under the Nyota project. We've been talking to PS Susan Mangeni, Principal Secretary for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, talking matters, the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement Nyota project, which has entered phase 2 of its business support component. Many thanks, PS. We'll be right back after the break.